everyone, and welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. My name is Bree, and the Mahogany crew has reassembled yet again. Our fearless leader, Anne, is here. Hello, Anne.
Hello, everyone.
Our All the Feels queen, Dory, is here. Welcome back,
Ooh,
Dory.
I like that. All the Feels queen. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
And mother of Miko, Jazz, is here. Welcome back,
I am
Jazz.
here, except for Miko's not here with me today.
Well, you're still his mom.
Where's our nephew?
Being serious, y'all. Miko's not here. He's at home. I'm in another city. So I see him like the next couple hours.
Jazz is out and about.
Me.
Okay. Every mom needs her day. Every mom needs her day. It's fine.
That's right.
Okay, so we are here. We have yet another Mahogany movie to chat about. We had NAPA Ever After, which premiered last night. As of night recording this, it is August 27th. So it premiered last night on the 26th, part of Hallmark's Summer Nights. So from Hallmark's website about NAPA Ever After inheriting her strange grandmother's winery in Napa Valley, Cassandra, a high-powered attorney, takes a sabbatical from her job to renovate the property that was the source of the fractures within her family. With the help of handsome local Alex, she learns more about the grandmother she hardly knew and is able to reconcile the past while finally opening herself up to a love like she's never known. And this stars Denise Boutet, Colin Lawrence, and Tiffany Yvonne Cox. So let's start off with fashion moment. What was your fashion moment from last night? Anne, start with you.
I actually I know someone's going to say this one, so I'll say a different one. I liked actually the very first scene, I think it was, when she had the red dress, just the very simple red V-neck with the sleeveless dress in a law firm with like the two gold necklaces. I really liked that. That's definitely something like I wouldn't look as good as her, but that I would like to wear. And there's another one I liked, but I think it's going to be someone else's. So yeah.
Okay. If nobody says it, you have to mention it. Cause I'm like, what, which one are you talking about? Okay. Dory, fashion moment of the movie.
Well, I was laughing last night. I texted the group and I said that everyone was giving business casual in this movie. And what I meant was that everyone had really cool blazers for this entire movie. So I wanted to shout out some of the blazers. I really liked her friend. I think her friend Angela, at one point, she's wearing this like yellow checked blazer that I loved. I was like, oh, this is so cute. I want it. And I loved at the bar, like when they go out that night, that double date, Colin Lawrence is wearing that tan blazer, looking so good. So yeah, I'm giving love to the blazers for my fashion moment.
Jazzy.
Oh my goodness. When the girls were doing their shopping and when Cassandra's character came out with that beautiful dress and then with the denim top, it was like, yes, I'm going to work maybe though, but after I take off this jacket, it is like party time. I love that dress. Me and my best friend were like, oh my gosh, we will rock this. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because mind you, the person who's in charge of all the fashion for this project has been majority of the Mahogany movies, costumes, and they're like, it's amazing. You're doing your thing. Like, thank you.
Mine was it was earlier in the movie, not like first scene or anything, but I think it might be when she like first gets back to the winery after like we've learned that her grandmother has passed away and all that. She had on some dark blue jeans and this beautiful, bright, shiny, like mustard yellow long shirt. Yes. And I just thought it looked beautiful with her skin. Her hair, I think, was gorgeous the entire movie. Even my second fashion moment is like when she comes out of the like winery area, like she's been outside and she has a stick hanging out of her hair.
She was still cute. Like it was still cute. It was cute.
I loved it. So yeah, so many awesome fashion moments. So questions we came up with last night. Well, first and foremost, Jazzy wants us to mention, which we absolutely have to. Black wineries are definitely a thing. So I loved that that was kind of the focus of this movie. Was there a standout performance for you Dory, this was your question, so let's start with you.
I really liked Colin Lawrence's performance. I think, are any of you Virgin River watchers?
I haven't watched it yet.
but
Is
I
he
will
in
now.
there?
I'm not going to watch anymore, but I am, yes.
So he's on Virgin River, and they've really put him through it. Like,
Really?
he has had some struggles. And so the character is kind of tortured a little bit, like he's been through a lot. So there was a lightness with this performance that I really liked. I thought that I thought Alec was really funny. He didn't let Cassandra get away with anything.
Yeah, he stood up to her.
Yes, he always had a comeback for her, but it was never like rude. It just always felt good natured and like honest. Loved the scenes with him and Mary, his daughter. So I really liked this performance from him. Like, I thought he was pretty swoony. Like, I thought he was a great hero, and I'd love to see him in more Hallmark movies.
Yeah, a friend on Twitter posted, because I got on the Hallmarkies Twitter or X, whatever it's called, last night to do the live tweeting, because I was like, well, we should live tweet this movie. And I haven't live tweeted in probably 2 years now, I think. And a friend tweeted that we need a Colin Lawrence movie every season. And I was like, yes, please.
Agree.
He's so
Hard
good.
agree. Yeah, he was my favorite performance, I think, overall in the movie. I just loved him. He was such a sweetie.
I'd have to say he stole it for me too. What about you, Anne?
I mean, I don't think I really have one that like really stands out like a lot. I do hope we see Colin in more movies, because it's surprising that we haven't seen him in that many so far. I mean, I think he's only been like, this is probably actually his first like lead role, because the other
I
ones
think
are
so.
ensemble ones. So like that's crazy. So yeah,
like
I hope
again, like he's all like he's. I think my first time seeing him was the Evergreen movies. Wasn't he Holly Robinson, Pete's love, and them?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. I'm still upset that they haven't put out like a fifth Evergreen movie, but it's
And I'm waiting for that wedding. Like, I'm still mad about that right now. I was invested, y'all. I got the DVDs. I'm invested in their wedding.
Who was your standout performance, Jazzy?
Girl, Colin has delivered. It made me, because mind you, I was on, shout out to Dear Hallmark, I was on Dara's live, and I was just like, you know what? This 2023, like, streets are ghetto for dating, but Hallmark streets will never be ghetto. And this movie said Colin's character for Alec was like, girl, he is the whole package. Like, how you not falling for him? He said, lean on me. Like, you like, I am here. I was like, let me just lean, because the Lord said lean.
He was doing that work for free.
Okay, for free.
Marry that man for free.
Girl. I will marry him in a heartbeat, y'all.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
I guess I think one of the funnest parts of the movie for me was obviously the meet cute. They meet on the side of the road. Quick rundown of the movie. We kind of shared the about. Y'all fill in the gaps so that if you have yet to watch it. What I think that was interesting about this movie was like within the first, I'd say 10 minutes, I feel like a lot of conflict is kind of front loaded. Whereas like typically with Hallmark movies, our heroine would have to go back to the winery in the midst of waiting for the big promotion that may or may not happen. In this movie, Denise's character remind me of the heroine's name in the movie. Cassie. Is it Cassie?
Cassandra, yeah.
Yeah.
Sandra.
Cassie gets the promotion at the very beginning of the movie. Pretty much like right after she gets the phone call that her grandmother has passed. So grandma's passed, she gets the promotion, and then y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but then she finds out that she has inherited the winery, which I kind of figured was coming because I remember in the beginning when she's a little girl, doesn't her grandmother tell her like this will one day all be yours?
Yes.
She says, one day your mother will inherit it and then you will.
Okay. So we know kind of right off the bat, like a lot of stuff is just kind of dumped on Cassie. I hate to say dumped, but this big change has happened for her. And then boom, grandma's passed away. I've inherited this winery. She goes back to Napa Valley, and that's where her and Colin Lawrence meet. They meet on the side of the road. I don't want to say it's dislike at first sight, but she's like, yeah, dude, I'm in the middle of trying to change my tire and you're trying to be nice to me and I don't have time. I don't know. What did y'all think of the meet cute?
I mean, I actually felt her in that moment because he's just looking.
Yeah.
And she's like, you just gonna stand there and stare? Like,
Okay, make sure I'm doing it right.
And that's the thing, when you're trying to do something and trying to handle something and someone's just looking at you and then you're getting nervous and you're getting stressed because they're looking at you. I kind of felt her in that moment. Obviously he meant no harm and he wanted to help her. She just clearly had it handled. But I liked that. I liked that she could change her own tire. Like, she didn't even hesitate. She hopped out the car. She started work. She's like, I got this. So I actually did like that moment for her.
And it does seem, and y'all like correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the very beginning of the movie, it's like a flashback. She's a little girl, and it kind of ends. That sequence kind of ends with her in the backseat of the car. Her dad's in the front seat. Mom is up on the porch with grandma, and you can tell they're leaving. And Cassie is sad. You see her kind of waving to her grandma, and they take off. So I was like, okay, I was just under the impression they're just leaving. They're just going back wherever. And this little girl's sad that she's leaving her grandma. But a big part of the movie is that there was some family strife. So it kind of felt like when she's returning, like this is a place she hasn't really returned to for a while. Was that the same, or am I off on that?
No, like I felt the same way as well, because I think, okay, maybe there's like a tit-a-tat, or it's like the end of summer thing and they're leaving. That's why I just felt like when she came back, like she had been back there for ages. So I'm just like seeing her, like maybe she went back maybe sometimes by herself and the parents just picked her up. No, it was just like that was the last straw of that's not being there and that's it. Or she probably would have known or talked more about the winery, even at her job a little bit.
Yeah.
Or have more wine stuff, or like, things that remind her of her grandma at her job.
Mm-hmm. So, Cassie returns home very, another friend on the Twitter was like, I love that this is kind of like a classic Hallmark storyline. So it is something that we've seen a dozen times. But, fresh perspective, new spin. So she's back in Napa Valley. Kind of under the impression of like, at first it's like, I'm gonna sell, but then she finds she's given from her grandmother's best friend some letters that her grandmother and her mother wrote. I can't remember, were they left for Cassie, or were they just letters written between the mom and the mom and the grandmother and like saved for Cassie?
The letters were written back and forth between the grandma and her mom, back and forth. They're writing letters to each other, and she did leave Cassie a letter for her to read, because it actually was a letter addressed to Cassie from her grandmother, and then she got to read other letters of their correspondence.
Okay, yeah. So through reading these letters, this pretty much changes Cassie's mind. Like, I'm gonna stay on here. I'm gonna fix this. It's really hold on. I did put a note in my phone. It's like you're standing on the shoulders of greatness. I think that's what her grandmother's best friend tells her. So in combination of like hearing that and reading these letters, it's like, I have to stay. I have to fix the winery. Of course, the winery is under the water. There's a lot of money that needs to be put into it. She gets leaked on, like water falls out of the ceiling onto her as she's asleep. This place needs to be worked on. And this is really kind of what throws her and Colin Lawrence's character together. We love a project. We love to see kind of that, workplace romance, forced proximity. And then I guess the wrap, how the movie kind of rounds out is the decision of like, of course, are you going to sell it and go back to San Francisco, or are you going to stay? And really, in Cassie's case, it's like, how are you going to make it work? Like, we have a scene where we see her selling her car to repair something else. And it's just like, I can't afford to put any more money into this place kind of thing. Did that kind of wrap it up? Like, did that summarize most of the movie? Was there anything important that we left out before we want to get into our thoughts?
I think that covers it. And when she's trying to fix up the winery, Alec, Colin Lawrence's character, is helping out, and apparently he had a special relationship with her grandmother, so he's like doing all this work for free. He has a little daughter.
He's a widow.
He's a hot widow, by the way, guys.
Hot widowers, welcome.
Thank you for the adjective, Jazzy.
Just saying, just for you guys, Hallmarkies, just for you.
But yeah, I think that covers it.
Okay, so that's the gist of the movie. Aesthetically, I think it's a beautiful movie to watch. Like, the scenery was fantastic. Anne, overall thoughts?
Okay, I'm going to start with what I liked. I enjoyed the music in this movie. I thought they had some really great music choices. So that I was looking forward to. After I heard the first couple, I was looking forward to, what songs they were going to play. And they were all great. I did appreciate that they aired this movie on Hallmark Channel on a Saturday so more people could watch it. I think that's great. And I thought that it had more of a Hallmark Channel rom-com tone that, the other, most of the other Mahogany movies didn't have. So I appreciated that it didn't feel, as dramatic as like the other ones this year, for example. And so that, was a good thing. And there are moments of the movie that I enjoyed. But I do think that in the movie, there were some times where I felt like I didn't understand something, or like it felt like, okay, I must have missed something because we got here and I don't understand how, we got to this point, and so I felt like there was some things missing, or that some things were cut that we didn't get to see. And the ending, I just don't even understand how we got there at all. And it was unnecessary to me. So I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about it, but I think I liked it better than the other two movies this year. So I guess that's something. So yeah.
Remind me the last one we covered. What was the last one we covered?
Spring Breakthrough, which is
Spring Breakthrough. So we've had a Nashville Legacy. That was our like February movie, end of Black History Month. And then we had Spring Breakthrough, and we have now had NAPA Ever After. So you preferred this one over the previous two?
Yes, I would say I would watch this one over the previous two this year.
Definitely. Dory, dare I ask? No. Overall thoughts, Dory.
Oh no, that is like apparently my reputation is. Here comes Dory. She's about to drag another Mahogany movie. Oh my goodness. I'm with Anne. I liked this better than the previous two movies that we covered. Like I mentioned, I love Colin Lawrence's performance. I hope he gets more lead roles. I agree. I thought it was really pretty. The setting was really pretty. I love a movie in a vineyard. I like those other Hallmark ones when they're in the summer in the vineyard, autumn in the vineyard. I like those too. I'm a sucker for that. And Jazz and I talked to Wendy Ely Jackson, who did the initial script for this movie, and we interviewed her for Hallmarky's podcast. And she mentioned that a lot of, which is natural in this process, but stuff was cut from her original script. And I think that you could tell. I think that there were some connections that were missed. As a viewer, it could feel a little like disjointed. I know for me personally, I felt like the beginning felt kind of rushed, the end felt kind of rushed, and the middle felt kind of draggy.
Yeah.
And so there were kind of like pacing issues. And so, I mean, I'm just dying to know what was cut
Taken
from
out.
Wendy's script. Yeah, because I think that you could tell. And I'm sure that she provided a lot more context in that script for a lot of the things that were happening. I really
Can we provide examples? I'm sorry. I want to hear what you have to say after this, but like provide an example, because I know for me, first and foremost, like when I think of the beginning, you said how the beginning felt rushed. It really did, and it was like the editing for me. Like we have this scene at the beginning, which I think is supposed to represent how, like, I don't know, like in Spring Breakthrough, at the very beginning of the movie, you're getting that beautiful shot of downtown Chicago. You see the water, you should see the trains, you see the high rises in the back, all of the beautiful skyline. Here, I'm like, okay, I see two people walking on a trail. I guess I'm supposed to just know that this is Napa Valley based off the title, but it's there for like 2.5 seconds. And then we're at a wedding. And I'm like, why didn't we just start with the wedding? So it just felt kind of patchy.
Yes, I feel you. And I think for me, the issue with that beginning part, the biggest issue was the conversation that Cassandra's mom has with her grandma, because we don't hear it. The decision was made to make that scene completely silent. There's music over it, but we don't hear the discussion that's going on. You can kind of see that there's maybe a disagreement or an argument of some sort. Her father's in the driver's seat of the car, and you can tell like he looks really unhappy. Cassandra looks confused. She's kind of like slowly waving goodbye to her grandma. So like we know that something happens, but we don't know what. And so that scene really left me confused. And then it's like cut to the future. So you don't really understand what happened. And it just, for me, it was very confusing. Like I would have loved more information at that point about what was going on. Like what was the actual conflict?
What was the
conflict? Because then later on, her dad, in a scene with her dad, he's like, we left because of me. I wanted to be a lawyer in the big city. So your mom left. She never wanted to leave. But we don't know any of that until the end. And it just feels like in that moment, I was like, I would have loved to actually see a full scene of this and to understand what like what this initial conflict is that made Cassandra stay away for so long. Cause I'm kind of like, was she still close to her grandmother? Cause she comes back to the vineyard and she don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, it seems like that conflict really impacted their relationship for decades to come, which makes it feel really important. And we didn't have any context. So like that felt very rushed to me. I would have loved to spend more time with her whole family at that vineyard to kind of get a better understanding of the dynamic. And then at the end, we don't even get to see like what she's been working so hard for this wedding. And then it just jumps to her friend's wedding, right? And then it just jumps to her wedding a year later. And it was just like, it felt rushed. And it felt kind of just inconsistent. Like the pacing just felt a little off for me at those points, which I felt was weird because in the middle of the movie, it felt like some of those things could have been trimmed down.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I think instead of like a scene of people walking randomly in the park or on the trail at the beginning of the movie, it could have started with like us, like the camera panning into this conversation between the dad and the mom of like, this is my dream or whatever, like, yeah, I needed something. I really didn't understand. I was like, y'all leaving the winery caused drama.
Right.
You know?
And like, you don't really understand at that point. You're like, are they just leaving for the summer and they're sad? Or is this like goodbye forever? And it takes a long time to understand what happened there.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hit everything you wanted to hit? Because I know I interrupted you because I wanted to ask a question, but did you hit everything?
I was just going to say one more thing that I really missed. I wanted more of her friends. I feel like if you're going to make the friends a major part of this movie, like, I want more of them. Like, what's going on with them? I want their backstory too. Because I think that was another fun thing that Unthinkably Good Things did.
Yeah.
There was the central love story, but then we also got to know the friends, you know, and I feel like if you're gonna have the friends there, if you're gonna have 3 best friends there, I want to know about all of them personally.
And that made that movie move so quickly. Like, it was so
Yeah.
watchable, and
You're
the pacing was
invested in all of
perfect.
them.
Yeah, because they each had their own thing going on. So yeah. Jazzy, overall thoughts.
Overall thoughts. I thought it was a good movie. Not saying A1 sauce good movie, but for me, I could have. This supposed to have been the
Not A1
crossover. This is supposed to be the crossover movie for Mahogany, where it's gonna be that rom-com moment. And where did it go? I was rooting for you. In the words of Tyra Banks, we were all rooting for you.
We were rooting for you, Tiffany.
but like I said, we talked to Wendy and we know a lot of scenes got cut out. We definitely gonna ask Wendy what scenes were definitely cut out. But I feel as though this movie in particular could have been a great movie that could have been a 3-part series. Because like Lacey Chabert's movies, like
The
for
Wedding Veil.
Yeah, not the Wedding Veil, the other one, the fall movie.
The one in Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they got the house and everything. This could have been it.
Yeah.
This could have been one to start one, like how they're getting it up, starting their wedding situation, how we're gonna figure this out, like the trials tribulations of it. The third part, they actually seeing their wedding come to life and finally envisioning it. That's what I could have seen for NAPA Ever After. Like, I wanted to see, Tamara sitting in the audience because she lives in Napa and she should have been in the audience at her wedding. Like, how you gonna have a Napa like vineyard and Tamara was not there next to Adam and her kids?
Jazzy's so bossy. Like, you live here, you need to be on set.
I'm just saying, like, I thought it could have been a great moment. Like, I don't care if we had to go borrow Tamara's vineyard real quick, like something. Like, it could have been a great moment, but I did love the fact that they did highlight in that one scene talking about how her grandma took other Black future entrepreneurs of wineries and taught them the trade, because there are Black wineries out there. Either they own their own property, they sell bottles. You can find them at Target, find them anywhere. They do produce wine, and it's just very important. I wanted to know the history of it. Like, how far did it date back? Like, was it like, because you have to sell grandma land, and you know how that is in the Black community. You just sell grandma house. Like, it's one thing selling grandma house, but you selling grandma's land and a whole production of what the legacy is. We want to know, was Ely named after the grandpa, or I want to know more. And I feel like this could have been a 3-part, movie that could have either ended like around summertime still or go into fall situation. But this could have been a great 3-part series that could have been amazing.
Can I piggyback off of what you just said, Jazz, real quick?
Yeah.
I was thinking something similar when I was watching this movie, and it is a feeling that I have had with a lot of these Mahogany movies and with Hallmark movies in general, really. I feel like a lot of times they try to smush too much into the 1 hour and 30 minutes, 1 hour and 40 minutes, whatever that they have. And I would like to see them branch out into more series. Like, I would love to see a 10-episode series on a woman who goes back and is running her grandmother's vineyard, and she's learning about, things she didn't know about her grandmother, and she's like slowly falling in love with the guy who's helping. Like, when I was watching this, I was like, I would love to see a Black centered series with like Black leads. And I have felt that way about I felt that way about Unthinkably Good Things too, to be honest. I
That
was like,
would've
I
been
would love
great.
to see a 10 episode season of this. And I feel like I have mentioned before how I feel like with the Mahogany movies, it's like we're trying to do so much. We're trying to show so much and cover so much ground. And that is just a really hard task to accomplish
In a short amount of
an
time.
hour and a half movie. Like, I would love to see a series. And I think this would be a perfect setting, like a beautiful setting for a series, a great story about a woman, you know, in her 40s, like trying to figure out, in her 30s or 40s, trying to figure out like what's next for her and if she's really happy being a lawyer in the big city and whatever. So yeah,
I'm here for the series.
I
And if
totally
you don't-
agree, Jazz. I was thinking that too as I was watching. I was like, there's so much here
Yes.
that would be so cool if we could dive deeper into it, and we just can't do it in the short amount of time that we're given.
I love that you brought that up because that's what I think my main critique is of the movie. Like, I thought everybody looked beautiful. Somebody put on, again, I was live tweeting y'all. So somebody did put on Twitter, like, would you really be wearing those boots all the time on a gravel road? And I was like, very, very true. But
I was thinking that too. I was like, she's wearing these gorgeous blouses. I'd be sweating through that so bad.
Yes.
Like, it would be embarrassing. That's what I kept thinking.
I will twist an ankle so quick. But yeah, I thought the location was beautiful. I loved seeing us represented in a space like that, like in a location like that, because I feel like sometimes we are the Chicagos, we are the Detroits, you know, and it's like I want to see us in Napa at a winery too, because we're there.
Today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by W Rated, the podcast where we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. Join me, Daisy,
and me, Claire, as we break down the IMDb Bottom 100, choosing a different film from the list every episode.
We take a deep dive into the plot, production, release, and reviews, usually with a special guest, to uncover if these films are truly as bad as everyone says they are.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, and anywhere else you find your podcasts.
I think it is a classic Hallmark storyline, and I appreciate seeing us get those. I just like seeing us like have that seat at the table. I thought everybody was gorgeous to look at. I thought Denise Boutet was fantastic. I don't know why. I hope we see her in more Hallmark movies.
Agree.
So, but I do think my biggest I think this is where we can start to transition to our other thoughts. I do think that y'all know I think we talked about this maybe in our last episode. It feels like right now, as a Hallmark viewer, and I'll be honest, listeners, don't come for me. It is what it is. I have had the only Hallmark movies I've watched this year have been the Mahogany ones because we are covering them. So there's that. Nothing's really caught my eye. I have really relied on you all and our Hallmarkies crew of like, yeah, it's worth watching. No, it's not. It's been kind of boring. I do feel like it's a bigger issue than Mahogany. And when I was watching last night's movie, I was like, why don't we get 2 more movies of this, or a quick hour-long series or something? There was so much more that needed to be explored. It did just feel like it felt like a patched up, I don't want to say a patched up story and that sound disrespectful to the writer, but you could just tell there was so much meat missing that if you gave it time, if you put the money behind it and gave it like 5 episodes, would have been great. And it doesn't have to necessarily just follow Cassie if you don't want it to. Like if you want to incorporate other characters or what have you. Like Hallmark back in the day had that Cedar Cove series, for example, which is based on Debbie May Comber's books. Debbie May Comber has an entire other series about people that like come to this inn to start over, or there are other, series out there where people come to a certain small town and that's their opportunity to start over. That's essentially Cassie's story. This is a starting over story. So if you want to like explore that and like push it out, 4 or 5 episodes and bring in other people to kind of help with the pacing and keep people invested and interested and not just follow one character, I believe Hallmark has the money to do that. We're trying to do too much and we don't have the time to do it. And like, that's my biggest critique. I didn't understand the family drama. I really didn't understand it. I really didn't understand. Like at one point she said something like, basically like not being good enough, or like, I've been doing all this and it's still not enough. And I was like, I want to know why you feel that way, But we just don't have the time for it. So that's my biggest thing. And again, that's not a shot at this movie. I think it's a Hallmark thing. I think Hallmark puts so much money behind the holidays, which as a viewer, I'm very grateful for, but you can't crap on the rest of the year movies that you put out.
Agree.
Yep, agreed.
It's painfully obvious. I mean, if they, the thing is, if they want to reduce, the movies, like, I'd rather you just do that. I'd rather you just have, outside of the holiday season, have like, I don't know, 8 or 10 movies only instead of like 25, 30 or whatever. Just have less and spend more money and investing time and, good writers and, having, more quality over the quantity. I mean, for
Absolutely.
sure. I don't know why they feel like they have to have so much. I'd rather have less that's good than more that's not good. It's just a waste.
Exactly.
I do have a question. So I maybe I'm the only one who felt this way, but so after when Cassandra and Alec are after the date, the double date, and then he kind of has this confession of like, oh, I thought I only have one great love, and he's saying like about her. Am I the only one who felt like, how did we get here? Like,
No,
how did we get here?
Like,
Yes.
had one moment alone this entire movie. I'm like, I just don't understand how we could be like a profession of love like this when you guys haven't even had that much time together. I just felt like
this is why it should have been in part 2.
I don't feel like this is earned, and I don't like it because I just felt like I missed like 5 scenes or something of you guys like connecting
and he said something. I think he said it to her. He said, and I think this came like right after that part that you just said, Anne. He's like, just because happiness left you once doesn't mean it's gone for good. Like he's realizing that, and I'm like, she's been pretty snippy with you most of the time.
Yeah,
that part.
We saw. I'm like, we
talk about that.
Much,
no.
But the stuff we saw, I don't understand where this conversation just came from.
Yeah, no, we haven't talked about that yet, Jazzy, but I was like, she's not. I was, of course, somebody on Twitter was like, she has such a chip on her shoulder, and I was like, yeah, we can't let that drag on for too long, or people will be out. Because, but I don't know. Yeah, it felt left field.
I also feel like kind of going back to the overall problems that are kind of going on with Hallmark is that I feel like there's a lot of competition now, and Netflix is in the rom-com game, Amazon Prime, all these streamers. Like Hulu, I think people are starting to kind of see that this is big business. And I mean, Hallmark needs to change with the times. Like, I do think that they need to start taking some more chances with their storytelling. And I feel like you can do that within the Hallmark kind of, outline what they like. Yeah. I think that there's a way to tell more interesting stories. And I think that they need to start taking some chances. Like Jazz said, make a 3-parter, make a 2-part movie, like try and take some chances with this, because the old ways aren't holding up in this new environment. And I have always said that I feel like Hallmark makes too many movies during the year. I think that the quality drastically went down when they started premiering a new movie every Saturday. And like, I don't think you need to do that. I don't think you need to do that. And I think that the quality really suffers. And also, like, we are an easy audience. You know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, we're pretty easy.
We love these movies. We love Hallmark. We love it so much we podcast about it
literally
on a Sunday morning.
We do.
Right.
That's how much we love these movies. That's how much we love Hallmark, and we love these rom-coms. So for us to be frustrated, it says a lot. You know, like, it does not take much. It does not take much for us to be completely invested and to fall in love with these movies. And it's been harder to do that this year.
I definitely agree. And sometimes it just feels like they think we'll just like anything. And I'm like, if you think that, then you have been asleep, because we have not been liking this stuff you guys are putting out. And I mean, really, even if they did one movie a month, which you could even do, skip, a month or two, but that would be like January to September, because in October Christmas starts. That would only be 8 movies. And so maybe you could even cut one of those months out and make 7 movies. So like, 1 month or one movie like a month, and then have it, actually be themed to like that month or whatever. And
like start in February. Like, give everyone a break in January, start back in February, one a month. I totally agree.
Mind you, you have so much catalog within these time periods, from Valentine's Day, spring, summer. Like, we have the catalog of movies that are excellent. You can rotate them on a daily basis to make themes out of it. Like, they got it. It just give us 1 or 2 qualities within that summer, in that spring. And like, I'm not trying to start on the wedding ones though, but if I don't see no other, wedding movies that have other minorities in there that can actually get married versus them being supportive roles, I don't want it anymore. Like, everybody deserves love from all races, all backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been nothing really that's,
Never Too Late to Celebrate was a good one last week, though. I can tell you that much. Never Too Late to Celebrate.
That one, I text y'all because I was on Facebook, and there was quite the stir on that one, because there are a lot of Hallmark viewers that do not like seeing those two together, and I'm like, they're married. But
exactly,
I got it, because a lot of it's just, they're like, for some viewers, they're like, it's just redundant. It's like that redundancy, that repetitiveness of like seeing those two together. But when you understand that, like, it's important for them to like not keep their family apart, I was like, I get it,
And their son was in the movie too, by the way. Even though it's probably a Mahogany episode, guys, but I had to shout that out.
Yeah, but I agree, because like, I was thinking of what Anne said. I think that maybe they have this belief that, and true enough, like, I wholeheartedly believe there are fans that are going to watch and love whatever they put out because it's Hallmark. Period.
There are a small group of people who will just love everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna love it because it's Hallmark. And then I think there's also that large population that are like, I'm gonna watch it, and if it's not good, it's not good, and I just won't watch the movie again. But I don't know. I feel like we've talked about this like every episode, besides probably like Unthinkably Good Things, but.
And
I understand the holiday stocking. I understand like wanting to hold on to your OG audience that's been your A1 day ones. I understand that. But bro, you gotta start bringing in some new writers, some younger writers with fresh perspective. You have to, if you're not trying to get a younger audience in who will then one day be your older audience, I just feel like you're doing it wrong. You're doing something wrong. You need younger writers. You need writers of color. You need own voices, writers. You need disabled writers. You need like a mixture of people to just capture like different experiences and give us fresh perspectives. Stay with your tried and true tropes. That's fine. It is what it is. Like, like I had to tell some on the Pinavega post that I was telling y'all about, somebody was like, I just don't like that they're dancing. And I'm like, girl, you know how many fall festivals we've watched? Like, chill out. Let them dance in the movie, you know? I was like, nothing Hallmark has done or does now is something you haven't seen before. But yeah, I really think the focus, my whole wish would just be we focus on quality over quantity. Like, focus on, because we saw it last year with Lifetime. Lifetime put out less Christmas movies, and most of them were bangers, to be honest. Most of them were good, and they did not put out nearly as many movies as they had put out the previous year. So just
I'm still waiting for Merry Little Christmas.
Focus on that. And I think we're right too. I think the world that we're living in, a lot of viewers want series. They want to see things fleshed out over time. I think we're doing ourselves a disservice with some of these plot lines. Unfortunately, like this one, I really loved Cassie as a character. I wanted more time with her. I wanted more backstory. With Alec, he's a single dad who lost his wife.
I know.
I want to see more. I want to see more of him surviving with that survivor's guilt, because he does say at one point, he's like, I kind of feel like if I move on, I'm betraying her. And I'm like, I want to explore that a little bit more. Like, I don't want to see that in like this 1 minute conversation.
This is why it need to be a 3-part series, or even a series in general. But I definitely would see this as a 3-part movie. I'm down for. I can see the vision. Wendy, call your girl up. Like, I'm ready. Like, Hallmark, let's redo it. Like, we got this.
So what do we think? I mean, I think we agree that like it's a bigger issue. Like we were talking about it beforehand. Dory, you definitely bought it up. But like, what do you think? Bigger issue than Mahogany?
Oh yes. I mean, I think that this is so much bigger than Mahogany. I think this is a Hallmark problem in general. And I'm just going to say it, my fear with Mahogany has always been that it would be used as like a cop-out to then not tell other Black stories throughout the year.
Which we haven't been seeing.
I think that and I think that has proven true. I think my fear was absolutely validated. I think that pisses me off, if I'm being completely honest. And I think because the other thing it does is then you get your one movie a quarter and you're pinning like all your hopes and dreams on that one movie. So if it doesn't satisfy like your every want, you feel disappointed. And that's not fair to the writer, the director, the actors. That's not fair to them. But it's like we get so few, we're like grasping, we're like trying to take the crumbs. And it is a problem. Where are the other... I mean, where is the diversity? Because I haven't seen much of that this year either. Right. Like it's like every year it's like a little better, little bit better. But
I was thinking about it like, we've all been doing Hallmark stuff here now for a long time. We've all been privy to have tons of conversations with people behind the scenes, and I know I'm kind of gonna tie like two stories together. So like in one experience, I know it's all like Black experience. We want the story to capture the Black experience, right? And so then I think of like an author interview I recently did with an Hispanic author, and she's like, unfortunately for, in the case of authors of color, a lot of times publishers or whoever are looking at them to educate the person that's reading or educate the person that's writing. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like even with this story set at the winery, if it was Lacey and like Andrew Walker, they wouldn't really be doing much educating, right? It would just be a rom-com set in Napa Valley at a winery. But like we've said plenty of times, like we have to, we're just I think our first episode, Dory, you was like, it feels like we're on borrowed time, so we're going to put everything into these movies. And this one kind of felt like that one yet again. And I'm like, I just want to watch Alec and Cassie have a romance. Like, I just want that.
And I think I absolutely agree with you, Bree. And I think that what made me kind of sit back and think, okay, this is a broader Hallmark issue was that right after I was watching Napa Ever After last night, and then right after it rolled into another movie. And I don't know if the other movie was something I had recorded or if they were playing it on the Hallmark Channel, who knows. But I started watching it, and it was The Wedding Contract. Have you guys
see,
seen
when
that
mine
one?
ended, it was Unthinkably Good Things.
Yeah, mine's
So
on
I
really
must-
good things.
So I must have like had The Wedding Contract recorded, and so my DVR just went to start playing the next thing I, hadn't
Mhm.
watched or whatever.
Mm.
Did any of you watch The Wedding Contract?
I don't think
I
so.
didn't, because I heard it was not good, so I didn't watch it.
So this was the story. Becca Tobin was in it, and it's centered around a Jewish couple planning and having a Jewish wedding. And so I was like, well, I want to watch this. Like, yes, give me all the diversity. Like, I'm trying to watch this. I started watching it, and to your point, Bree, about education, every step of the way, it was like an explainer. I'm like, well, this tradition means this, and this tradition means this, and this, this food is made this time, and I was just like, why can't you just tell the story?
Yeah.
And it's like Hallmark has a real problem stepping outside of the white, Christian traditional stories.
Yeah.
And I was watching it and I was like, these characters are adorable and delightful. Their families are so cute and loving and fun. There are funny and sweet moments, but I'm like, they are totally, they're not telling the story, right?
Yeah.
And it's like they're putting so much pressure. It's like, all right, we've got one Jewish movie. Let's do a full presentation on what goes on at a Jewish
info
wedding.
dump the heck out of it.
Exactly. And I was just like, you are doing a disservice to this movie, and
that's not fair for the Jewish people that are watching that are like, I already know this.
Exactly.
If you're watching something and you're intrigued, go Google it, people. It is not up to the Jewish writers. It's not up to the Black writers, the Hispanic writers to educate you. We have Google. Like, we have Google.
If you're confused, Google it. As I was watching it, I was like, wait, so this is a Hallmark problem. This is more than just Mahogany. Like, this is a full-blown Hallmark issue across the board.
Yep. What do you want to say, Jazzy?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I guess I'm not sure if the white audience has friends of other cultures or anything like that. Maybe that's probably the issue. Like, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't have people in mid America like around these other cultures. That why we have to teach them. Like, no, they can look. They can ask when they go visit other places. They can go to museums and stuff to get more educated. But I just feel like they do have a need to go back to the drawing board, and they really honestly need to look at surveys. Actually, hear from us as the fans who watch this, even our younger viewers, because we do have a lot to say. We do want to be on these panels. We do have ideas that will test the test of time with Hallmark to elevate us, where we're bringing in more younger people. True, we're coming in. Millennials, we're coming in, sitting down right next to the older ones, like our older, baby boomers. Like, we're ready, like, for this, but we need more. We need more. Like, for instance, like, I just got done a couple of days ago with the new Crimson Hearts Collide. Y'all remember watching? Have y'all watched Insecure? Right?
I've seen some of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, during the time of Insecure, there was this TV show that would pop up that we'll watch. It was called like it's like the LaToya show. They got like Lost, like LaToya's Lost. Like, they have playing in the background and stuff. I feel as though if they would have played, because the podcast just dropped, you guys. I feel as though if they would have started this process maybe like months ago and put them in different parts of like kind of like Easter eggs within the movie, something like that. Like, what you listening to? I'm like, oh, what's the Crimson Heart Collide? Kind of get like the little juicy like bits of like the drama of like a cliffhanger. You're like, what is this? What is this? And then that would have dropped like, oh, Crimson Heart Collide is the podcast situation. I'm like, that would have been a missed opportunity. That's just me. But I'm just saying, like, there's so much that they can pull, so much they can bring out for this brand that we have. But it's just hard where the fans we have the ideas that how we can bring it out, but they don't want to listen. Like, especially up top, it's like we the one who's watching the show, the movies. Without us, and everything declines, the whole channel declines. We just want fun, wholesome romance. It's okay to have some drama, but we want to see us. No matter we're black, we're white, we're Asian, we want to see us in a happy rom-com situation where we can actually find love and be in love.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is just they just overcomplicate it. I'm like, literally what you just said, Jazzman. We just want to see, whatever, racial or, disability or whatever, we come from. We just want to see our people have a sweet romance, just like, the, white couples, two white lead couples, have been having for the past 20 years. I mean, it's just like, we're not asking for that much, but they just overcomplicate it and just mess it up. And it's just like, it's not that hard.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Not just watch The Bachelorette. It's not that hard. It took forever today. It took forever today, but we finally got black love.
Oh God, I don't know. I think NAPA Ever After obviously was, such more of a joy to watch than the previous two. Obviously, Nashville Legacy was just really kind of dark. I don't know. It was such a beautiful cast. Spring Breakthrough had a beautiful cast too, and it just was just
But even with Nashville Legacy, imagine if that was a series. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
A mystery. Yes. Solved over time. We'd get to hear more music and learn more about her mom and the girl groups. Like, I think that would have been a really cool series.
I was down for that.
Instead of all of the drama and issues compacted into one movie, like, I don't know.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, because I've been spending a lot more time like reading through, like if something pops up, on Facebook, one of the Hallmark groups, I'll just kind of read through because I want to see like what people are thinking. Actually, one of the posts that I saw today for this movie, everybody loved it. And I was like, well, that's good to see. But I do think, and a lot of times what I see is like people will tell people that don't enjoy something, just watch it for what it is. Just watch and enjoy it for what it is. And it's like, that's how you continuously to like encourage them to almost like insult your intelligence and put out bad movies. Because they know like there are people that are going to just say, watch it for what it is. Like it is what it is.
Trust us, we are watching it for what it is. Like, we are. And we still have thoughts.
Right. I'm like, if you say that's part of the problem right there. Like, they know there are people that are going to show up. They're going to enjoy it just because it's Hallmark. They're not really going to critique anything. And it's like, if it's a bad movie, tell them it's a bad movie so that we can get better. Because you can't have a beautiful cast like this and have us sitting here like, yeah, well, they kind of missed the mark again. Like, no, I want to see these actors again. I want to see them in something else, Like, I want it to keep going, but it's just like, as a viewer, I do feel like y'all can do better. They can do better.
Especially the ending that was hella
Okay, let's
rushed.
talk about the ending. So I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it. I'm sorry. It comes on the day that we are recording this. So hopefully if you intended to watch it, by the time this episode comes out, you have watched it. But somebody shared how the ending of this movie went.
Okay, I will start because I
Yes,
really
go.
have an issue with it. So yeah, they just show, Cassandra's dad, which I don't even understand where his heart came from that he wanted to all of a sudden help her so much. I didn't really get the connection of what he just so somehow became so supportive. But he becomes so supportive, he's gonna help her. So then she goes to Colin Lawrence's character and says, like, I'm gonna accept my dad's help, like, will you be my partner? And then 1 second later, it flashes, 1 year and many, Eli weddings later, and they're getting married. And I just felt like, I just was like, I missed a whole lot of stuff, and this is so unnecessary that I'm like upset because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel earned because they weren't alone for one scene in this movie, and now they're getting married to each other, and we didn't see what, like, all this work she did. We didn't even see, like, what happened. And
Yeah.
it just felt like, are you trying to make, like, between the spring breakthrough wedding and this wedding, I'm like, are you trying
Oh
to make
gosh.
black wedding?
Flashbacks. Oh gosh.
You're trying to, like, have as many black weddings as possible? Because it just didn't make sense. It was just shoved in there, and it was just out of left field. I couldn't understand.
Yeah, you can't skimp on the romance, and this all goes back to these stories deserve more time than what they get. Because when the wedding happened, I was like, at no point in this movie, like, I could see the beginning sparks of a possible romance, but nothing. When that wedding happened, I was like, I don't believe these two people would actually still be together 10 years from now, because I don't really feel like the focus of the story was on the romance. I felt like so much of the story was focused on the concept of inheriting the winery, which is something I had never thought of before. And so I was talking to Rachel one day about a previous movie, and she's like, a lot of these movies are just a concept, and they, like, try to build the story around it, and you can't really do that. And so I feel like the romance part of it was kind of lost. And so when you add in this wedding at the end, it just feels like there's no bones there for me to believe that this is something that would actually last, because yeah, they spent a lot of time together because they were trying to they have a project. They were trying to save the same thing, him for his reasons, her for hers. And yes, it's a guy and a girl, and I could see he was feeling her. I never really felt like Cassie was feeling him, to be honest. And then I'm just supposed to believe that, like, yeah, okay, they're getting married and that's the end, and I believe they're going to stay together. Like, I never got that feeling.
There was not even one other kiss other than the wedding kiss, which is just a whole other bonkers thing that's like, what?
Yeah.
It was just, yeah. I didn't feel it was deserved or earned.
So how would we rewrite, if Hallmark gave us all the money in the world to rewrite it and put it back out, what would we do? Dory, what would we do? How would we start it out? The first episode. Say we get like a 5-episode season.
I think
I'm gonna need 10.
And
Jazzy, you're asking for too much. Okay.
Oh my God, we gotta go off of faith. Okay.
5-episode series. Okay. 5 episodes. What's the first one? Let's go.
I think I would love to get some more background on what happened at the vineyard, that last trip to the vineyard. I would like that to be stretched out to establish kind of what we're working with when she will eventually go back. And I would also like to get more of her life in the city and to see more of her friends and to see that, like, there is, because I feel like with movies like this, you need to establish that the person is giving something up to go after this other dream, this other passion, because that's life.
And to be honest, when we meet Cassie, she seems like she has a full life.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I would love to see, I completely agree. And I would love to see some more of that turmoil about her not wanting to give that up, because I think that's valid. If she were to be like, I would love to see more of the internal conflict, right? Where she's like, I loved my grandmother and I loved this vineyard. I haven't been there since I was a kid. I'm in a good job right now. I love it. I'm with my friends. Like I have a happy life. Like, what are the pros and cons to me doing this? Like, I would love to see a little bit more of that. And so the first episode would have to establish those things. They would have to establish what the vineyard means and why it's important to her, but also why her life that she has built for herself is also important, and why that they're in the rest of the episodes of the series, we're going to see a struggle as to her discovering what she really wants out of her life. And to do that, you have to establish it and make it really clear right up front. So that would be the first episode, in my opinion.
That's what's up.
I love that. Okay. All right. And then too, because her dad was a lawyer too, right? Was her dad a lawyer?
Yeah,
and I also love some establishing with her relationship with her dad, because when she in the movie, she doesn't tell him that she is taking over the vineyard, and I'm like, well, that's weird. You're just not going to tell your dad that you're like moving to Napa and
right
going to take over this vineyard. So I'd love to understand why she would have made that choice.
I mean,
that would be another thing.
And does she love being a lawyer? I mean, this is one of those movies where it's like,
yeah,
I can't, usually Hallmark kind of paints it as like, she's overworked. She's there all the time. It's like 1:00 in the morning and she's still there and it's dark outside and you see the beautiful city skyline behind her. I couldn't really tell. I was like, Cassie seems pretty in love with her situation. She doesn't seem to be complaining. It's always during the daytime. Like, she doesn't look exhausted. Like, I would have loved to see like her kind of struggling with like, I'm good with where I am, but also my grandmother's passed away and she's left me this thing. Like, struggle with transitioning at a time where like everything's looking up for her in the life that she already lives.
Right.
So
I would love to see like cameos from different black wineries that are in the area. Like the oldest, I looked it up. The oldest black winery is the Brown Estate in Napa. Like, coming in, like, how's it going? I know Grandma Emma passed away. How's it going? Like, I don't care if Tamara showed up. It's like, hey, girl, what's going on? Like, she around there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, it could have been a great moment where like you're seeing like, even other entrepreneurs coming in for wineries, because their winery is booming in minority cultures, and they had it for decades, for centuries. Like, this would have been a great way to say, no, we're going to help you because, Grandma Emma helped us along the way on different things. We're going to come help you. How can we help you with the winery? What's going on? What repairs? What's happening?
Right. Yeah. Or even just because it is Cassie's story, and usually like the heroine's journey is about, it ends with the heroine finding community, like her going to Napa and connecting with this other historical black winery and then becoming her new community and like supporting her and encouraging her on this new venture. Like, boom, there you go. Episode 1. Boom. Okay. What are we doing for episode 2?
Ooh, she has to meet Alex. Like, she has to.
Okay.
Like,
so
it's a cliffhanger. That's a cliffhanger.
Episode 2 is her actually going back to Napa Valley.
Okay. That's good. That's true.
This is the meet cute. Her and Alex, side of the road.
I'd make the meet cute end of episode 1. And then episode 2, I would have it more of her kind of entrenching herself in the winery and kind of understanding how her grandmother had left it to her, because there were all types of mortgages taken out, money, like all of that. So I think that could be the focus of episode 2, kind of wondering what she is in for, like figuring out what she's in for. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then and at some point in that episode 2, we paths cross with Alec again, and then episode 3 could maybe focus on her and Alec spending more time together, like fix the winery,
building things and stuff like that. And then maybe the friends will show up and like, okay, y'all gonna be here, we're gonna have wine, but y'all gotta help out, put some dirty clothes on, like we're going out there, build. They could see like the banter between her and Alex. They could be like, ooh, we see that.
Well, and you know what else I was thinking that I would have loved to see, and I think this would have been more of an episode 2 thing, is like she goes for the funeral, but we don't see any of the funeral. We just see at the end, it's like it was a beautiful service. I would have loved to, I mean, I know Hallmark is not, big on putting a funeral in a rom-com, and I get it, but I would love to see them, I don't know, like at a memorial or something, talking about her grandmother, seeing the community out for her grandmother, like her meeting, Cassandra meeting people that her grandmother knew. Like, I think that would be a good establishing of her relationship with her dad. Like, I'm assuming her dad would have wanted to be at the funeral, maybe. Like, I just feel like that could have been a central part of episode 2, or that could be a central part of episode 2. And it was something that I missed in the movie. It's like all of a sudden the funeral's over and Cassandra's packing. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? Like, you okay, girl? Like, what went on? Are you all right to drive? Like, I just had so many questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they never mention a single thing about what happened to her mom, right? Like, ever? Am I right?
She got sick. We know she got sick, but we don't know why she got sick. She was sick.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a mention of like her mother died, but we don't really go into it. And I think that's like
what the sickness was or how long it's been since she died. It's like I felt like I didn't know anything about that.
Or how was their relationship? Like the other thing too, here's what I really think. I wish that Hallmark would trust their writers a little bit more, because I would love to see an original version of the script where probably all of our questions were answered.
Probably.
Because what happens, because what happens is I think that Hallmarkifies all of these scripts. And I understand that there is a purpose for that, but I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe can we start giving our writers a little bit more freedom to tell a story? Like, these are professionals. Like, Wendy has been in this business for 20 years. Like, 20
she knows how to write.
Like, she knows how to write. She knows how to make a story. Like, can we trust them? Can we trust them?
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of agree with this. Like, I see it in my head. Like, this could have been like a summer series from Mahogany Love. Napa Ever After, seeing everything come, like seeing the first wedding after the revive, like fixing the whole house up and everything like that, I could see it all. This could have been a great series on a Good Friday night, entering a new movie like during the summertime feel, like in the spring, summer. I could have saw this. This was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And we could have featured some wine during commercial, like besides like, Mahogany could have came out with we have the wine during like the holiday time. We could have had our own Mahogany wine that could be selling during the summertime. They missing out on some money. I said what I said.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Well, it sounds like we, in our little mini series here, I mean, we're on episode 4, but do we need a 5th episode? Like, how do we end the series?
I want to see a wedding, like after they rebuild everything. I want to see, her friend wanting to get married. I want to see her wedding of her friend, how they did it, everything and stuff like that.
It should have ended with the friend's wedding, I think.
Yes. Yeah, and then we could have had a part 2 movie. Or season 2.
Yeah.
But her color at Cassandra's wedding was pretty though. But they did play Mary's outfit though. I was kind of mad about that. They know they could have gave her a better dress, but I digress. Yeah, I said it. Mary deserved a better dress. I said what I said.
I just loved her little whatever she had in her glass.
I know. I was like, what? What Kool-Aid situation mix of flavors was in that baby's glass? That was making me laugh too. I mean, and I also think like, what was going on with the banker? Like, I thought there was going to be more conflict with that. Like, people trying to take the winery
for themselves.
Yes, like I feel like there are little breadcrumbs that we could have kind of expanded on, and then that would have been a good episode of the show too, because that banker was giving evil. Like, he was making me nervous.
Okay, question things.
I was like, is he trying to take this winery from her?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this, Mahogany, if you are listening, like, it might be on my stories, but this should have been a TV series for the summertime for 3 months. It matters an hour, kind of like The Way Home, like an hour every episode during the summertime. We needed this conflict that we're bringing up, like these characters you're introducing. We need this to be a whole series. For
Look,
like we would have been invested. Y'all could have been selling some wine.
look. If
Black
wind
wine.
calls the heart, and you Hardys do not come for me, I'm not the one. But if wind calls the heart can be whatever 10 seasons in, Hallmark has the money to put behind some other things and make them series. I'm just saying, like, come on,
Right?
give it 5 episodes and call it a day.
Shade or I don't take them to add a black family in there. I'm not even gonna throw shade about that, but I digress.
But the money is there, okay? You don't have the Good Witch anymore, which I'm still upset about, and I don't understand that decision. The money is there, okay? We just want things to be a little bit more fleshed out. So I don't know. Okay, ranking. You know how we did it the one of our times. I don't know how many times we've done this, but ranking now. Okay, so we have Unthinkably Good Things. We have to Her with Love. We have The Holiday Stocking. We have Nashville Legacy. We have Spring Breakthrough, and we have Napa Ever After. Where does this rank on your list?
Ooh, this is. I'm not gonna lie. This actually goes like how the movies were airing. This will slide probably in between the Holiday Stocking and a Nashville Legacy in that spot area, but I might move Nashville Legacy down maybe. But actually, no, keep it that way. Unthinkably Good Things, Holiday Stocking. Then it's gonna be Napa Ever After. Then it's gonna be Spring Breakthrough, and then Nashville Legacy.
And so To Her with Love is your bottom.
Oh crap! I forgot about her. No, yeah, actually, yeah. To Her Love, that could actually be flowing after. Actually, that one's after. Whatchamacallit? Because that actually has some funny bits in there too. That can go. Sorry about the noise, you guys. That's gonna go after. Can it be a tie with Napa Ever After and To Her with Love? Can they share a spot?
Sure. We make the rules.
Sure. Yes, they're gonna share a spot together. They're gonna be spot 3 together.
And what's your ranking now?
It would definitely be the top 3 would be the ones from last year. So then this would be in the 4th spot, and then under this would be Nashville Legacy, and then the bottom would be Spring Breakthrough.
I think that's mine too. Yeah. What about you, Dory?
That's mine too. It's Unthinkably Good Things, The Holiday Stocking.
Yes.
To Her with Love.
Then this one.
Napa Ever After, Nashville Legacy, and then Spring Breakthrough.
Well, any final thoughts, ladies, before we conclude?
Don't come for us. I'm so sorry. That's my last thought.
Like the actors and actresses were amazing. The person who was on top of fashion, you did your thing like every time. We want the pieces. Please, Hallmark, please drop the playlist, please, because the playlist from beginning to end was popping.
When SWV came on, I lost it. I was like,
yes, we were gigging. Like we was like, yes.
Movie? And yes. I think I don't think that this movie isn't a bad movie. We just you can clearly tell that we missed some stuff. And I think that is like a bigger issue. It's obviously not the writing. It's not the acting. It felt like things were edited and like stuff was taken off and something else was put in and things were feeling rushed. This movie needed more time, which I feel like we've been saying a lot lately, but so oh gosh. Well, let's do our outro here. And where can everyone keep up with you online?
You can keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at awscott21.
Dory, Queen of All the Feels.
You can find me at All the Feels Pod on Twitter and at Dory Bedford on Twitter.
It's about to be All the Feels season, and I'm very excited. Jazzy.
We're gearing up.
Jazzy, where can everybody follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which is X, but it's still Twitter. At Shreem16, SHREEM16. That's where you're going to find me and Miko, living our best lives.
And I'm Bree unabashedly on social media. I'm sometimes there now. I'm mostly not, but it's fine. Make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast all over social media. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave us a rating and review. And if you're listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up. I say that again. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave us a rating and review. You guys, as well as for all the feels, it's the easiest, cheapest way you can support podcasts. Just go leave a 5-star review. It helps people find the podcast. We also have a patron group you can check out and join for as low as $2 a month, and a merch store with TeePublic. So check that out as well. Let us know. Hit us up. Find us on X or Instagram. Tell us your thoughts on Napa Ever After. If you watched, we would love to hear your feedback as well as what you thought of the episode. We always really enjoy when people tag us and let us know their thoughts on the movies. Until next time, ladies, this has been fun as always, and we will chat with you in our next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.